The Kind Prince, a legacy of love and compassion. Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom, there was a young prince named Alexander. He was born into a wealthy and powerful family, but he was not like the other royalty. Alexander was kind, gentle, and had a heart full of compassion for all living things. He loved to explore the kingdom and was always eager to help those in need. One day, while on a journey through the forest, Alexander stumbled upon a wounded bird. The bird's wing was broken, and it could not fly. Alexander knew he had to help the poor creature, so he carefully picked it up and brought it back to his castle. Alexander spent hours nursing the bird back to health, feeding it and giving it a warm place to rest. Slowly but surely, the bird's wing began to heal, and soon it was able to fly again. Alexander was overjoyed to see the bird take flight and fly away, free once again. Word of Alexander's kindness quickly spread throughout the kingdom, and people began to see him as a different kind of prince. They admired him for his compassion and his willingness to help those in need, regardless of their status. As time went on, Alexander continued to explore the kingdom, always on the lookout for ways to help others. He built schools for the poor, provided food and shelter to those in need, and even started a program to help the elderly. The people of the kingdom loved Alexander and looked up to him as a role model. He had shown them that kindness and compassion were just as important as wealth and power. Years went by, and Alexander grew old. He had lived a long and fulfilling life, filled with love, joy, and kindness. When he passed away, the people of the kingdom mourned his loss, but they also celebrated his legacy. Alexander had left behind a kingdom filled with love, kindness, and compassion, and his spirit would live on forever. After Alexander's passing, the people of the kingdom decided to honor his legacy by continuing his work. They built more schools, provided more aid to the poor and elderly, and made sure that kindness and compassion remained at the forefront of their society. The kingdom flourished under this new way of thinking, and even neighboring kingdoms began to take notice. They saw the success of Alexander's kingdom and realized that kindness and compassion were not weaknesses, but strengths that could lead to a better world. As more and more kingdoms adopted this way of thinking, a new era of peace and prosperity began. Wars became less frequent, and people began to work together for the greater good. The spirit of Alexander lived on, not only in his kingdom but throughout the world. His legacy had inspired others to be kind and compassionate, and as a result, the world became a better place. Years turned into decades, and centuries turned into millennia, but the legacy of Alexander remained. His story became a legend, passed down from generation to generation, inspiring countless others to follow in his footsteps. And so, the story of Alexander became an enduring reminder that kindness and compassion can change the world, that one person can make a difference, and that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Tell me more. As time went on, people began to refer to Alexander as the Kind Prince because of his compassionate and selfless nature. His legacy became a symbol of hope, reminding people that even in the darkest of times, there is always the potential for good to prevail. The Kind Prince's story was told in books and plays, and his image was depicted in paintings and sculptures. His name became synonymous with kindness and compassion, and his story continued to inspire generations of people. As the years passed, the kingdom that Alexander had built continued to thrive. The people had learned from his example, and they worked hard to ensure that his legacy lived on. They created a society that was built on love, respect, and compassion. And it was a society that worked together to make the world a better place. Eventually, the kingdom that Alexander had built became known as the Kingdom of Kindness, and people from all over the world traveled there to learn from its example. The Kind Prince's legacy had spread far beyond the borders of his kingdom, and it had become a beacon of hope for people everywhere. And so, the story of the Kind Prince continued to inspire people for generations to come. His legacy had left an indelible mark on the world, and it had shown that even a single act of kindness could change the course of history. Tell me more. As the years went by, the Kingdom of Kindness continued to thrive, and it became a model for other nations to follow. People from all over the world traveled to the kingdom to learn about its principles of compassion, generosity, and love. They were amazed by the kindness of the people and the beauty of the land. The Kind Prince's legacy was celebrated every year with a grand festival where people from all over the world came to pay their respects. The festival was a time of joy, laughter, and unity, and it was a testament to the enduring legacy of the Kind Prince. As time went on, the kind prince's story became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. His image continued to be depicted in paintings and sculptures, and his name became synonymous with kindness and compassion. But the kind prince's legacy was not limited to his kingdom alone. It had spread far beyond its borders, and it had touched the lives of countless people all over the world. His story had become a symbol of hope, reminding people that even in the darkest of times, there is always the potential for good to prevail. And so, the story of the kind prince continued to inspire people for generations to come. His legacy had left an indelible mark on the world, and it had shown that even a single act of kindness could change the course of history. The kind prince had created a legacy of love and compassion that would endure for all time. Tell me more. As the years went by, the kingdom of kindness continued to thrive, and it continued to be a model for other nations to follow. People from all over the world came to the kingdom to learn about its principles of compassion, generosity, and love. They were amazed by the kindness of the people and the beauty of the land. The kind prince's legacy had touched the lives of countless people all over the world. His story had become a symbol of hope, reminding people that even in the darkest of times there is always the potential for good to prevail. The kind prince's legacy had inspired a movement of kindness and compassion that spread far and wide. People all over the world began to follow his example and live their lives with kindness and compassion at the forefront. As more and more people began to live their lives with kindness and compassion, the world began to change. Wars became less frequent, and people began to work together for the greater good. The world became a more peaceful and loving place, and it was all because of the kind prince's legacy. Eventually, the kind prince's story became a legend that was told in every corner of the world. His image continued to be depicted in paintings and sculptures, and his name became synonymous with kindness and compassion. And so the legacy of the kind prince lived on for all time. His story had inspired a movement of kindness and compassion that had changed the world for the better. His legacy was a testament to the power of love, kindness, and compassion, and it would continue to inspire people for generations to come.